Hey, what's up, Internet? So I made this little song thing here. It's really just a loop. This is like the foundation of a song that I made with LMMS. And I figure, well, since nobody ever asked me my creative process, why not go ahead and make a tutorial out of it and show you how I do it. So yeah, let's get started. So I'll just show you what I'm doing here. I'm using version 1.2.1.655. I haven't paid attention to the exact features in this one, but I can tell you that I downloaded this one and installed it from source a while back. If your version of LMMS looks a bit older than this, maybe try installing it from source. That way you get all the nice new features instead of waiting for the next package to come out. Anyways, I've already gotten started here a little bit. I didn't do much. I just wrote this one little oscillator line, this triple oscillator synth. So it doesn't sound bad, right? But I think it can sound better. So let's see what I got going on here. I got a volume and filter cutoff envelope going here. The volume envelope is pretty simple. It's just like kind of a short decay, just tweak the knobs a little bit. And the filter, I got a low pass. Oh, just changed it. I got a low pass 24 dB octave filter. Does the job pretty well. I'm going to turn down the volume since the triple oscillator tends to be pretty loud. And we're going to tweak this filter and the synth a little bit. Let's start with changing this up. That's more like what I'm looking for. It's a little too harsh though. Let's take the cutoff and make this a little more subtle. So one thing I like to do is always set these controllers to logarithmic. You go down to this setting, it says set linear. So now you see like 200 hertz is down there, 14,000 hertz is up there, halfway in between you got 6,000. It's a little more useful when you're dealing with frequencies to set it to logarithmic, so it's like, here's 1 hertz, there's 300, and the middle is more like 1,500, so it's a little more practical that way. I think I'm gonna bring this sustain down. There we go. Not quite what I'm looking for, but getting there. Maybe a little less resonance. Well, let's mess with the other settings here. What if I made this a square wave, actually? Oh, then you basically get a saw wave. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like... I'm not sure what I want here. Let's try a fifth. Maybe just the fundamental is all we need. Do a little fine-tuning. Or bring this down. So it's part saw, part square. There we go. So now I have a saw and a square oscillator at the same pitch, kind of fighting with each other a little bit. Alright, now let's mess with this filter a little more. Let's add a little bit of release to that. Nah, I don't like that. Getting there. Maybe just a little EQ curve. I might be getting ahead of myself. I like to use this one. Take the mids down a little bit. Maybe bring up this band. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I can't really tell you what's going to sound good without hearing the rest of it. So I'm going to go ahead and move along here. So LMMS has a sample library. I'll show you what we got. It's not very good. I'm going to be honest with you about that. So listening to the kicks, just starting down the list, that one has a really weird uptick in it. I don't know what that's about. Kind of poorly sampled. That one too. It's you'd have to cut that one off a little short to make it useful. That one has a lot of high frequency noise. You could filter that out. I have. That's how I use it. But, almost none of these samples are really good to go out of the box, which is fine with me personally because I like to tweak things. But if you want to find some good samples, head on over to LMMS.io and let's get to the sharing platform. I found this one, which is uploaded by John Baldwin. Who's that? I don't know. He has some good samples, though. So, yeah, go to his page. You'll find a whole bunch of kicks, snares, toms. Especially the newer stuff's pretty good. So I went ahead and downloaded all that, and we're going to use... That's a good one. It's got that kind of synthwave feel. That's a pretty good snare, too. So we'll double-click those, add them in. And, oh yeah, we shouldn't do this in the same pattern. We want to make sure to leave space, keep things separated. So we'll make a new pattern and... that's a pretty good sounding kick snare thing right there. We'll tweak it, make it better, but let's find a hi-hat here. Kind of like the first one. Yeah, let's go with the number 1. Just do some 8th notes here. I think the snare needs some more aggressiveness, some more something. Let's look at the built-in sample library. I like to stack samples a lot. So let's go over here. No. What about claps? You have any good claps? Maybe. Maybe we could use that one. Let's try that. Add some reverb. That's really loud. I really only like to use the high frequencies of these, so let's see. High frequency damp. Oh, that's better. Treble cut. And then we'll just high pass the whole thing. Actually, I'll show you a better filter. The dual filter. It's pretty nice. Especially for drums. Again, set logarithmic when you're dealing with frequencies is generally a good idea. I like it right about there. Let's hear that. Oh yeah. Maybe a little shorter on that reverb. Yeah. Let's cut that kick short too. That's a little too much reverb on the kick. I want the reverb to be on the snare, if anything. Oh, I'm dealing with the resonance here. Silly me. Go with the volume. Maybe something kind of like that. Or we could actually do this with a low-pass filter. Lots of resonance on that. We'll turn that down. Oh yeah. That's better. Maybe even lower than that. cut off. Oh yeah, there we go. I'm not sure if I like the filter right there. Let's try. Oh yeah, that's better. I want to cut some of the mids off of this snare, maybe. Or maybe... Oh yeah, I'll show you another cool use for a dual filter. So you can use like a 10-band EQ, which I do a lot of the time, and let's turn this filter off, and let's filter out this snare drum, cut the mids a little bit, everything from like here to here. Show you what that sounds like. That's one way to do it, but kind of a nice clean way to do it instead of dealing with all those knobs. Run the dual filter just at a high pass and a low pass. And the low pass, we're just going to cut off everything. Well, let's see. We got to activate it first. Just going to cut off everything right around here. You can actually make this a band pass if you want a super punchy snare. Where's my band pass? RC band pass. Let's go with the 24 dB. Find that sweet spot. Yeah, right there. And then add the high pass. This is for all of your stick hitting the head sounds and all your snares vibrating on the bottom sounds and a little bit of reverb tail. That's what this is. Find that balance between those two sounds. And essentially that cuts out the mids. You can bring down the frequency on this if you want a little more mids. Or if you want that natural sound, just go with that. I'll be honest, I kind of like it natural. But I might get rid of just the 500 hertz band. And then again, I might be overdoing this here. I mean, because I mainly use LMMS just to sequence things, and then I use Ardour to mix. So if it's not perfect sounding in here, move it over to Ardour, then do the fine tuning there. But I mean, this will get the job done. Okay, so let's hear how these sound together. I'm not sure I like the way that synth sounds. The cutoff envelope needs to be faster. That's closer. Yeah. That's more like it. We're getting there. Okay. Let's see how that sounds. That sounds pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, let's see what else we can put in here. I think I definitely want some high-pitched synth of some sort. Let's go ahead and use Zinad Sub-Effects, because this is my favorite plugin. So, it's kind of bulky, but Zinad Sub-Effects is just, it's the best. It's the best way to make something sound good in LMMS, or the best synth on Linux in general, in my humble opinion. If you got a different opinion, feel free to change my mind, but let's see, we're in E flat minor. So I'm just going to make some chords here. So I was jamming around with my band, and with this groove, and one of the guys had just like a pad that would just play like a major 7 chord on basically every note of the scale, and it actually sounded pretty awesome. I know it's not in the key, but it sounds cool. Let's go ahead and save it. And then I'll show you how to tweak Zen sub effects to get some good sounds out of it. The interface looks different in the new version of LMMS. Let's see, which synth are we going to use? I think I'm going to use the pad synth. Yeah, pad synth is good. So this one, for some reason, doesn't fire up until you press change. Or, no, until you press apply changes. And then you hear it. So we got a sine wave oscillator with a decent amount of bandwidth. Gets kind of that nice, airy, wispy tone. So I'm going to change this to saw wave. And strangely enough, the way you do that is actually select power. Yeah, there we go. Maybe minus number 2 a little bit. So to clarify, what I'm actually doing here is these are harmonics, which that's what I love about this synth so much. You can adjust each harmonic individually. So if I really wanted, I could construct a sine wave by changing, or I could construct a saw wave by changing this to a sine and then just pressing, 1, 2, 3, 4, just adjusting each one individually to construct a saw wave, which I think is awesome. But instead, I'm just going to be lazy. And if I want, I can add a little bit of number 2, but with negative polarity, which turns it into a square, because a saw wave minus a saw wave of twice the frequency gives you a square. But I want it somewhere in between. So I'm going to select maybe about half, give it a little bit of that third harmonic. Maybe a little more. That's probably enough. Alright, so now we'll play with the bandwidth a little bit. Bandwidth scale, I think 150% is my favorite way to do it. So that will change the bandwidth of each harmonic as the number of the harmonics goes up and down. 150 makes the higher harmonics wider, so it gives you more of that airy kind of tone. And then let's adjust the filter here. Let's see, do I want the filter to go up or down? Let's try making it go up. Yeah, I kind of like that. Let's add some more release time. Let's add some more resonance on that filter too. Yeah, I like that. Alright. Be sure to save it. Zen sub effects especially tends to be a little bit glitchy, so you just gotta save it as often as you can. Let's hear how all that sounds together. I think that sounds pretty awesome. So at this point, you'll probably notice that it took me a really long time to achieve something you can do pretty easily in most other DAWs with a small amount of tweaking, but that's just not how I do things. Yeah, so that's just my approach to making LMMS sound good. I mean, after getting the project kind of laid out, I will then do a stem export with LMMS and then just take all those tracks and put them in Ardor. Because honestly, when it comes to mixing and mastering and just polishing off your song, you can't beat Ardor for free software. So I would recommend doing it that way if you're looking for maximum flexibility, maximum just good sound, you know, and also the ability to record tracks into it. That's pretty huge too. So that's what I do. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this little tutorial here. So just in case you weren't curious how I get things done, now you know.